Hi, I'm Andrew from Creative Guitar Studio. It's Wednesday, December 9th, 2009, and I'm just going through some of the emails that people have been sending me off my website, and I'm going to try and help a few people out right now. And the first email comes to us from Kelly from the United States of America. It says here, hi Andrew, I'm a private teacher, and I was wondering what the one thing would be that you suggest to increase my income as a teacher. Well, a lot of times when I speak to some of the students that come around here that are teachers around town that do it privately, especially, I'll usually suggest them is the one main thing that I think that you can easily do to increase your income the most is do not give away your time anymore, because most teachers will basically do makeup classes, or they'll do classes, sort of, or credit store classes, when students can't make it. Basically, many years ago around here, we kind of adopted this idea that, we're here, we're ready to teach, the lights are on, the heat is on, the air conditioning's on, whatever, we're at the studio, we're ready to go. If we've got 6 or 8 or 10 students in an evening, and one of those people can't show up for whatever reason, maybe they've even given ample notice and so forth, we're still here ready to teach. And, if they don't show up, I mean, they're basically still going to have to pay for the class. And, there's no credits or makeup classes or anything. One thing you want to think about, okay, if you give credit, you're giving money back, and you're still sitting there with nothing to do, and you're not getting paid for it. So you got 10 students or 8 students, let's say, in an evening, and you're only teaching, let's say if you had 8 students, you're only teaching 7. Well, I mean, big deal, you're still there, and the lights are still on, everything's still, fired up. So, I mean, quit giving away class time. It's you're doing this to make money. You can't give it away, and that's one of the most important things. Especially too in the winter. You think sometimes, if you get a lot of students that are sick and they can't show up, and you're crediting back all the money that they paid for those classes, that's a lot of lost income. Another thing you got to think about too, if you're doing makeup classes, let's say you're there the first time when they couldn't show up, but you're still there in the evening doing all the other classes. And then you got to make it in a second time or free up another second class, time to do their makeup session. So now you've actually, in essence, you've given them a 2-for-1 deal. So any way you look at it, giving back time for students who cancel is just probably the worst possible thing that you could do, in terms of wasting your time and wasting your efforts and seeing a loss in income from it. So yes, that's my one main thing. Let's go to the next question. Is from Raz. He's from Israel. He's writing in. He says, "Hi Andrew, I watch your videos. I love your YouTube channel. Can you do a setup video for a Floyd-Rose guitar? I'd really appreciate it." You're kind of out of luck there, because you know what? I don't do setups myself on my Floyd-Rose. I did a video on how to change the strings, and it's easy to do something simple like adjust ride height of a Floyd-Rose. But when it comes down to some of the detail work like setting intonation and stuff, I'd probably suggest taking that into somebody who does that all the time and who's very familiar with it. Floyd-Rose is just a very finicky bridge to work off of. So, okay, let's go to the next question. Is from Richard, and it says, "Hi Andrew, I'm from New York City, and I was wondering how you develop a lead guitar part to go along with a rhythm section part. In the song that you made for your songwriting video series, the guitar break starts with a B minor chord while another guitar plays F sharp note and E. Do you just use notes that are from the chord being played, or do you use what's in the scale?" Well, you could use both, really. I mean, if you play notes from the chord, you're playing chord tones and you're really in the pocket. Really strong tones there. But if you play tones from the scale, I mean, that's kind of cool too. You're adding extensions in, like your 2nd and 4th and 6th degrees of the scale. Or, you just think of them as chord extensions, like, 9, 11, 13. So you kind of can really do whatever you like. You can even add passing tones in, like, in rock, look how popular the flat 5 is from the blues scale. It's used all the time. And then some players stretch it out a little bit further, like they'll add, flatted 2nd degrees in it. You got to focus a lot on really what you hear in your head and trying to play the music that you hear in your head. That's kind of like the golden, rule of it overall. So hopefully that answers your questions, to some degree. We got time for one more question here. It says, "Hey Andrew, good stuff. Do you have any suggestions besides the half-whole diminished scale for playing outside on rock settings?" yeah, maybe, you know, don't even look towards scales. Look just specifically at the chromatic. You know, that's probably your best bet. And you know, then look at a little bit what other players are using. You know, I just did a solo by Kirk Hammett, and you know, the guy uses Phrygian mode quite a bit. So I mean, there's a perfect example of going a little bit outside on things. But you know, even something like whole tone or, you know, half whole. I mean, all they are is you know, sort of a symmetrical pattern. They're a pattern of notes. I mean, you know, I would probably say develop sections and layouts maybe within something with a little bit of wider interval basis, like maybe a pentatonic, and try and play around it a lot with chromaticism. It tends to work quite well. So so maybe that can help you out. Maybe I'll just do one more here. Can you do a video identifying time signatures? This is from Donald in Los Angeles. I understand how to fill in measures according to different time signatures, but how do you identify what time signature a song is in just by listening to it? Ah, okay. You know, you need basically a level of ability with rhythmic ear training for that. You know, I just came across a really good book. It's by a guy named Bruce Arnold, I believe. It's called A Fanatic's Guide to Ear Training. I believe that's the name of it. I'll put a link in the sidebar. Maybe you can show over Amazon and check it out. But boy, that sure looked like an excellent book. You know, that maybe would be your best bet. See, when you're listening to a piece, there's something within it called the meter, and it's like the flow, the recurring pulse of a certain groove. And if you pay quite a bit of attention to the drums and really listen to that ride cymbal and even hi-hats, you can get quite a good idea about, you know, what the background feel is, which will pretty much point you at the direction of what that time signature is. So let's say that, you know, for instance, let's say the tune's in like 2/4, so it's going to be going like 1 2 and 1 2. You know, so it'd be heavy emphasis on that downbeat. You know, 4/4 doesn't really do that, because 4/4 is sort of like 1 2 and 3 4 and 1 2. You know what I mean? Like there's sort of heavy emphasis on 1, lighter emphasis on 3. Something like 3/4 should be fairly easy to spot, you know, as you're listening to the meter. You know, obviously a 1 2 3 a 1. Even something like 6/8 is fair, like that's popular, you know, sort of blues groove there. You know, so 6/8, you're going to really hear that heavily on probably the ride on the drums, or, you know, to a certain extent maybe the hi-hats. But, you know, it'd be like sort of like 1 2 3 a 4 5 6 1 2 3 a 4 5 6. You know, so you got to become familiar with them. You got to know how to feel them a little bit and know how the stresses and accents of them operate. But yeah, maybe pick up that book and listen to the drums a little bit more. Anyway, I got to wrap it up. So I hope this has helped out a few people, and you know, try and keep making these videos at least once a week for you guys. And until next time, you know, take care, and we'll see you on the next video. Bye bye.